Good afternoon. Welcome, welcome everyone. My name is Dr. Erin Hamill, and as Associate Dean of the Richard W. Riley College of Education, I welcome you to our 2022 Teacher Induction Ceremony. As you know, Winthrop has a long history of preparing teachers, and we have enjoyed the reputation as the flagship institution for teacher education in South Carolina and the region. That reputation continues, and it is fully attributable, I knew I was going to mess that word up, to the work of our outstanding faculty. Faculty who give generously of their time and expertise to support the intellectual and professional development of their students inside and outside of the classroom. Would the teacher education faculty please stand? At this time, Dr. Beth Costner, Dean of the Richard W. Riley College of Education, will introduce our speaker.
How are you doing this afternoon? That was pretty lame. Do it again. It has started. They may have to just enter an email address. It doesn't have to be a Winthrop email address. That's just a Zoom thing. All right, I'm going to try it again. Are you ready this time? How are you doing this afternoon? No longer late. All right, so I have the distinct privilege of introducing an alum, a distinguished educator in South Carolina, and just a really nice guy, okay? So Dr. Antoine Sutton is a native of McClellanville, South Carolina, located in Charleston County, and is currently in his third year as the Chester County School District Superintendent. While in high school, Dr. Sutton graduated second in his class. So was I. Was an honor student, and he was the student government president while he was in high school. He obtained a bachelor's degree in business administration from Winthrop University and an MAT degree in business and marketing education also from Winthrop University. Woohoo! While in college, Dr. Sutton, this is the most fascinating thing in all of the different things I read about you. He was a school bus driver. Is that not cool? I bet you learned some amazing classroom management skills on a school bus. Okay, I digress. So he worked for the Rock Hill School District as that bus driver to help pay for college. So Dr. Sutton taught marketing, economics, and computer programming at Clover High School. He was then promoted to assistant principal at Clover High after completing his educational specialist degree in educational leadership from South Carolina State University. He then completed his doctoral program at South Carolina State, also in educational leadership. After working for several years at Clover High, he began working at Clover Middle School as an assistant principal, where he remained until he became principal of Sedgefield Middle School in Goose Creek, South Carolina. Dr. Sutton was then selected as principal of Alcorn Middle School in Columbia in the Richland I district, where he remained until he joined the Fort Mill School District as Executive Director of Student Services. During that time, he also taught courses at York Tech and as an adjunct for Winthrop University. That's right. Woo-hoo! All right, we love our adjuncts. Okay, so after 4 years in the Fort Mill School District, Dr. Sutton was selected as the new superintendent for Chester County Schools in May of 2020. And some of you remember what might have been going on in May 2020. So that was a brave move. Carolina Panthers football and mentoring students by helping them succeed are major passions for Dr. Sutton and Dr. Glover. He is very active in his church and serves as the chair of the finance committee there at his church. Dr. Sutton has completed research and presented at conferences on increasing student engagement in schools, improving school leadership, and on the impact of single gender education on student performance. He's a member of Alpha Kappa Psi, a professional business fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. I like participation. South Carolina Association of School Administrators, South Carolina Business Education Association, South Carolina Alliance of Black School Educators, South Carolina Middle School Association, the Association for Supervision and Curriculum Development, chair of the board of directors of the Old English Consortium. Are you impressed? Okay, and you should be, because he's had an amazing career, and we are just immensely proud to call him a member of our family. Dr. Sutton.
Thank you, Dr. Cosman, for that. Did I send you that? Or did you research that?
You sent me some.
All right, I'm gonna start this a little bit different. Again, it's on a Friday afternoon, so I like to push the needle a little bit and think outside the box on things. So I'm not gonna start with the usual, thanks for being here, that kind of thing. I'm gonna start out with what I'm gonna be discussing with you all. And I'll get back to that later. So it's in there. This is a teaching strategy, so take some notes if you need to. As a whole, teachers aren't great about taking care of themselves. Wouldn't you all agree? They work too many hours. They don't get enough sleep or exercise. They eat too many unhealthy foods. They don't spend enough time doing the things that refresh and energize them. This is kind of a recipe for disaster. Teaching is consistently recognized as an incredibly high-stress career. We don't do anything to decrease our stress. Now, this wasn't meant to scare any of you, so I don't want you running out of here. You need to get one of your bags, so stay put. But again, it's the key thing that I want you to think about as I speak with you all today on this Friday afternoon. Now, I'd like to take a moment to thank Dr. Costner and her team for inviting me to come share with you all some words of inspiration or encouragement this afternoon. And it's indeed a pleasure to be back at my alma mater to share with you all. I sat out there where you all were several years ago, coming across this very stage. And the biggest decision leading up to this was, man, I have to get that tote bag, because they didn't have the Mester bags at that time. So now I'm glad to see, when I first came up, my first thing was not where I sit, where are the bags? I see the bags, so they're there. And so that was one of the biggest things back then is in the early 2000s of that tote bag. And so I'm glad to see that there are two options. So I know you're all thinking about it. So it'll be interesting when you walk up, which one you all decide to pick from there. All right, and I actually still have my bag. Now I use a bigger one because as superintendent, there's more things I have to load into that bag at this time, but I still have it. I have it at home. 5, 10, or even 15 years ago, I could never have imagined that I would be standing here today as a school superintendent, sharing words of encouragement with future teacher leaders. I was supposed to be a banker, traveling across the country in my office on the 20th floor in Uptown Charlotte, drinking water from an actual glass, not plastic bottles, and earning annual bonuses. I spent my entire life either at the school, on the way to a school, or talking about school. For the past 20 years, I've been doing the same thing. And I ask myself sometimes, what happened? I decided I want to be a champion for children. That's what happened. And I've never looked back on it. So if I were to go back in time and think about doing it again, being that banker, and drinking out of an actual glass and not a plastic bottle, that kind of thing, I would still choose to be an educator. I would still choose that. And again, as I discuss things with you all, you'll see why I'm passionate about what we do. We're all in this together, and why I definitely love what I do, and I plan to do that until I retire. I would like to share with you all 2 critical moments, this is a critical moment in your teacher education program, and the 2 key areas that I'd like to talk to you about today. And those two areas are building relationships and self-care. I know you've heard a whole lot of different things to your program at this point in time, and with from other educators in your coursework. But again, two key things to keep in mind is that for anything else to happen to work out in your, as you approach the classroom at some point, you must have relationships built with your students and your staff in your building. And of course, before you can even do that, self-care is important. And as we know, that was exacerbated more with the pandemic, and it's there. Superintendent, I see on a daily basis of an issue we have with teachers, our professional staff, the things that they're going through with stress and those kinds of things. So I want to touch on those two things, just leave you with that before you come up on stage. I won't belabor the points of writing, engaging lesson plans, staying away from the teacher lounges. Those are things that Winthrop, I know, has 100% prepared you for. And the reason I know how is because they prepared me for it. One of the things that in some of our classes that we were talking about with some of the professors here, stay away from the teacher's lounge, do your part, write your lesson plans, show up to meetings on time, and you'll be good to go. And so I'm not going to focus on that today. The reason I know, again, that I know you've had it focused on here in your coursework. We know why students aren't always successful in school or drop out of school. Poverty, low attendance, negative peer influences. We rarely discuss the value of human connections. James Comer once said, no significant learning can occur without a significant relationship. And I'll say that again. No significant learning can occur without a significant relationship. I've seen it time and time again as a classroom teacher, even as a principal into administration and to superintendents at this level. Students will work hard for you if they know you care about them. They will work hard for you. If they don't, they're going to come to your class. They may be compliant, and that's may, and sometimes they won't, based on how you as the educator of that classroom, how you treat them in your class. Everyone in this room has been impacted by a teacher or an adult. For years, I've watched people teach. I've seen some of the best and the worst in my time in education in several districts, as Dr. Carson stated through my bio. I once had a veteran teacher. This is me, my second year teaching. A veteran teacher said to me in the teacher's lounge, so you win, because you know it's kind of like when you're a child, your parents tell you don't do something, and what do? We want to do it just because to try it out. So I boarded the lounge for a period of time. I think it can't be that bad. I'm gonna go eat in the teacher's lounge one day. So I went to the lounge, and the veteran teacher, they were having discussions. A lot of times it turns out of being gripe sessions of the students they've taught. I just want to eat my lunch, because before you know it, that lunch period is over, the bell's ringing, you've got to get back to class, and you're on it until the end of the day. So here we are at the table in the lounge, and the teacher, she says, they don't pay me to like kids, and I'm not making this up. They pay me to teach a lesson, and the kids should learn it. She said, case closed. So I then chimed in and I said, the kids don't learn from people they don't like. That's something to keep in mind. And so again, if she doesn't like the kids want to know she doesn't like me, so they're not going to learn from her. So I made that comment. So let's just say after I made that comment, that was my first and last day eating in that teacher's lounge. I stayed in my classroom. Stephen Covey said, you should seek first to understand instead of being understood as a teacher. You have to understand your students if you plan to establish a productive relationship with them. In public schools, we have a mixed bag of students who come into our classes on a daily basis. We can't pick and choose. Whoever comes, who's on our rosters, that's what we teach. And they all have different situations and things that they come into a classroom with. And again, it's our jobs to make sure they know they're in a safe space and you care about them, that they're loved, and you're there to educate them. I used to ask myself this question: how do you raise the self-esteem of a child and help them with academic achievement all at the same time? This is something I've shared with over the years as a principal and with my new teachers every year in my district. I would tell my students when they came to my classroom that they were destined to be in my class. And because I'm the best teacher and they were the best students, we will show everybody else how to do things in Clover High School, where I was teaching. And by saying that, and they internalized that, and that's something that became a part of who I was as a teacher and who they were as students. And it was a huge confidence builder that my class, room 114, was the best class in the entire building at Clover High School. And that's something we talk about often in my classroom with my students through the 3 blocks at the top. Now, I would say you will be a better somebody when you leave my class, is what I would tell students. I recall one day grading test papers and one of my students answered 5 questions correct out of 20 questions. So you think about it, as a teacher, you're going through grading, you're thinking, oh, I know I've taught this. And so as I'm grading these tests, thinking, yeah, there's gonna be some great scores. So there's one particular student who wasn't all the way there yet, but I still had hope for him, thinking 5 questions right out of 20 questions on this test. So instead of putting 25 or his grade on his test paper, and I never use red, you've probably been told that, I use green or blue, it was my favorite color. Instead, I wrote +5 on top of his test paper. So instead of the 25, +5. So gave out the test before when class started. The student came up to me and he said, Mr. Sutton, you wrote a +5 on my paper. He asked, this is still an F, right? And I said, oh yes, it's still an F. And so he then said, well, why did you give me +5? And I said, because you're on a roll, you at least got 5 right out of that. So again, I told him, once we review the test, I need to know that you're gonna do better. I don't want you to tell me, and I'm telling the students that sit at my desk, you're gonna do better next time around. So I want you to see that even though you failed, you still have an F, you were able to get 5 out of the 20. And so use that as a springboard, and you're gonna come in here for tutoring at times with me, after school if need be, or sometimes during lunch, and we're gonna make sure this doesn't happen again. And so he said, yes, sir, I will do better. A grade of 25, to me, sucks all the life out of a student. But +5 says, I'm not all that bad. I work with the student, as I stated, work with him on improving his study habits. And of course, over the course of that semester, his grades did improve. It's those small things that you all will develop in your classes before you leave Winthrop and when you get into your own classroom that will stick with students into adulthood. There's students to this day that I communicate with that I taught that are now, doing their own thing. Some works for enterprise and corporate offices, various places, and we communicate often through Facebook, of course. That's the quickest way to find out where your former students are. And it's one of the things they would tell me as a teacher, Mr. Sutton, you haven't accepted my friend request. Like, I won't. I said, graduate first. Graduate first, and I might accept your friend request on Facebook. But again, it's a great way to keep in contact with your students. And again, you think about it as a teacher, that's something that says, when you have students that actually want to be your friend on Facebook, that's going to say a lot about you if they want to. So focus area number 2, as I mentioned earlier, first part we talked about is on relationships. Part 2 of this is self-care. Because before you can do all these other things, relationship building, do anything else, it's important you all take care of yourselves. That is so important. As you continue to matriculate through your programming here and when you're out into the field in classrooms, self-care is so important. As I mentioned earlier, we're seeing it from my level on a daily basis of issues with our teaching staff. The stressors of the requirements they have to do, standardized testing is in the back of their mind, all the various issues our students come to the classrooms with, and all these things, and parents, these different things that are on them, those helicopter or lawnmower parents that you're gonna have, because they're there. They at one point were helicopter, but now they're truly lawnmower. They're right on top of those kids, and by them doing that, they're on top of you as a classroom teacher. So when little Johnny does it, makes it 98 and not 100, that mom's gonna come up there, why didn't he make it 100? It's your fault as a teacher is what they're gonna say. So you have to be prepared for all these things. And so, but again, self-care is so important. So I've asked this question, you think about it as I go through several things to help you with this. Why do teachers struggle with self-care? Some have reached the conclusion that this lifestyle is just part of the job. You just can't take care of yourself. There simply isn't enough time to be a good teacher and to take care of yourself. So what do they choose? Being a good teacher, not take care of themselves. Self-care is something you get to over a break or the summer, right? That's what some of them think. A lot of us times we think it's busy. That's the normal. It's just normal for us to be busy and not have time for ourselves or our families. We don't realize how dire the situation really is. It's hard to say no to people. And in our profession, that's how we are. It's very difficult for us to say no. So I'm going to tell you now as a superintendent, say no sometimes. But definitely not if you're working in my district, don't tell me no or your principal. Please don't. But you can say no according to what it is. You have to take time for yourself and not overwhelm yourself at times, because this profession, it can be overwhelming with everything that you're responsible for. So some self-care facts I want to share with you. Self-care can be a great way to prevent or a great way to treat teacher stress. Over 40% of teachers report feeling high stress every day. 40% of teachers in this country. This ties with nursing as having the highest stress rate of any other career. Causes of stress can include a lack of resources, class behavior problems, which you will experience, or pressure relating to standardized test expectations, which we all know, the accountability, there's all these things we have to go through now as far as testing, and everybody's gonna be focused on their school rating and their district rating, and these are things that as the principal's gonna be looking at you, because the superintendent, I'm looking at my principals, get those scores together, the principal's looking at you, and all these things are gonna come through. But again, it's still a rewarding career once you get into it. They all lead to the same outcomes: weakened physical and emotional health. So physical care, these are some things you can do. Eat regularly, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, much as possible. Eat healthy foods. Exercise is key. Schedule regular physicals for prevention, that's important. So often, teachers don't take care of themselves. If you feel a pain, ache or pain or something like that, they just write it off and they keep coming to work every day. And you know the hours of work is very difficult to do anything, because by the time you go in, doctor's offices maybe not be open, and at the end of the day when you're leaving, they're closed already. And so make sure you build in time, or if you have to take time off, to take care of yourselves when need be. Get that medical care when you need it. Take time off when you're sick. That's so important. I can tell you, stand here and tell you, there are many days as a teacher, I know I was sick. I know I was. I know several times I had the flu. I'm pretty sure I spread it like a wildfire. But I came to school because for me, it was easier to come and teach rather than have sub-plans, because your sub-plans are hard to write, because when you're out there as a teacher, you're filling in that time. Of course, high school 90-minute block with your lecturing and you're doing other activities, but a sub can't do those things. So when you're writing on sub-plans, it takes so much more time to plan it for a sub than coming yourself. And so a lot of times I know I was sick and I came to school because I wanted to be there for my students, and I just put my own health at risk. But there was a time, one period, where I recall getting up one morning, trying to get ready to come to work, and I realized I can't do it. So I called in, I can't make it. So good thing I had emergency plans set, and they utilized those for the 2 days. But I went back to sleep that morning. It was after 5:30 when I called my principal and told him I can't make it. And that was before a lot of districts use Kelly services. Now when you go online and do it, then early 2000 they weren't using Kelly services. Then you had to call in and report that, and so they would have a list of subs they could get for you at that time. And so went back to sleep. I woke up after 2 o'clock that day. That's just how tired I was. Now, of course, through this process too, I left that part out. I was still working on my doctoral degree too, so that added to it as well. So I'm a full-time teacher and working on my doctoral program at the same time. So it was teach all day, then go to classes in the evening, and get things graded, make sure my plans were right, get everything I needed for classes, back the next day. So that was my life for 2 years of my doctoral piece of it. And so I know that contributed to it. But again, some physical self-care, take time off when needed, dance, swim, you know what things you love to do, walk, run, play sports, sing, or do some other fun physical activities. Get enough sleep. Sleep is important. Wear clothes you like. Make sure they're dress code compliant. You have to be. And take vacation when you can. Some psychological self-care. Take day trips or mini vacations. Make time away from your phones, email, or the internet. Just get away altogether. Just turn everything off. I promise you, it'll still be there when you get back. It'll still be there. Write in a journal. Write your thoughts down. Read literature that is unrelated to work. So often in this profession, we get caught into just reading things that related to education. It's fine to read things outside of education. It is. I promise you, you'll be okay. You won't lose your job behind that. Read something else. Read a comic book or something. You'll be fine. Do something you're not an expert at. So often, as educators, we feel that we need to do things where we're going to be the expert, where people are going to be asking us questions. I'm here to tell you, I like doing things where I don't get asked questions, because they assume because you're an educator, you know everything, and I don't. I'm going to Google, and I'm going to look things up. And so you don't have to always do things where you're the expert. Sit back and let somebody else do the work, and you just kind of enjoy that. Engage yourself in intelligence in a new area. Go to an art show, sports event, or a theater. Say no to extra responsibilities sometimes. That's key. Emotional social self-care. Spend time with others whose company you enjoy. Stay in contact with important people in your life. So often as educators, we get caught into our students, our classrooms, our school events. But again, it's important to keep in contact with those people that are outside of the field of education. Give yourself affirmations and praise, because so often you won't get it in the classroom. So often you're getting beat down by that parent email or another teacher or those kinds of things. So give yourself those affirmations and praise. It's important to be very reflective. I reflect on a daily basis, several times a day, a whole lot more in the evenings. As I'm driving home and at home, I'm thinking about what I could have done differently or more of that day at work. And so what I do is, as I process that, and the next day, I try to make sure I improve those things. So it's important to process and reflect and give yourself that praise and a pat on the back if you need to of things you know you did well that day. So when I go this evening and I'm sitting there watching TV, what am I going to do? I'm going to pat myself on the back thinking, I've worked all day, but I came here on a Friday afternoon to share with you all. So I'm going to pat myself on the back for that. So definitely love yourself. It's important to love yourself. Before you can love others, you have to love yourself, take care of yourself. Reread favorite books, review favorite movies, allow yourself to cry when needed. You will cry. You will. You will shed tears in this profession because you're going to plan that lesson out several days before, the night before, however it is, and have all these things engaged. Oh, this is going to engage my students. They're going to be all tied into it. And when you get to class that morning and you start teaching that lesson, they're going to look at you like, what is he talking about? That's happened to me. I was so pumped, excited on the lesson, and I'm in there with the students, and they had this look on like, what is he talking about? So I had to like stop all of a sudden and spin around a couple of times and start all over again in the middle of class. So that's something you'll develop that. So that happens at times. So it'll get you down thinking, man, I put a lot of work into this lesson. What happened? So again, it's part of being reflective, and then you'll make adjustments the next time around. So one thing at the high school level, when you're teaching the same course several periods in a row, you always have that test class, your first block. Then before you get to those, you can always change things up before you get there. So again, find things that make you laugh. I love laughter. You can come to my district and you'll ask staff members about Dr. Sutton. How is he as a person? Does Dr. Sutton laugh? They will tell you I do. I crack jokes a lot on my principals, and sometimes when I see teachers, even the cafeteria staff. I went to a school earlier today out in Great Falls, and I went to the cafeteria where they were preparing lunches, and I went back there and just saying hello to them, and I put my arm around the cafeteria manager and I asked, where's the fried French fries? I said, I need fried French fries, so somebody's losing their job today. And a new worker was in there. She just started on Monday. She was nervous, thinking, man, you're okay. You're okay. It's just a joke. It's just a joke. I understand we can't fry in schools, a lot of stuff with the health initiatives, but you all know that some things need to be fried. I don't like baked fries. And they were curly fries. I want them baked. I want them fried. So I told the principal on my way out, and I told the cafeteria manager, find a way to get these. We have fryers there. Find a way to bring in some grease and drop those fries in that grease. So they're not used to that from someone at my level. But again, that's my sense of humor. We can be serious when we need to, but we can still have fun on our jobs. That's important to me. And so spiritual self-care. Make time for reflection, as I mentioned earlier. Spend time in nature. It's fine to get outside, go to the mountains, go to Winthrop Lake and walk. Something I used to do prior to my car accident last year. I used to go out to the lake park and just walk around it. Put my beats on, listen to music, and just be there in tune with the squirrels chasing me kind of thing. But it's okay, it's okay. Spend time in nature. Find a spiritual connection in our community if you need to for that. Be open to inspiration from others. Cherish your optimism and be hopeful of what you're doing in your career. Be aware of non-material aspects of life. So often we get caught into not having the money we need, but we think about, and this one thing I've learned over the past year and a half, being in a very bad car accident where I could have been killed last June. I had my car flipped and had to be cut up with the jaws of life and these different things. I realized that things in life, there's so much more to life. There's so much more. And that's something I encourage you all to embrace that there's more to that paycheck or something you're getting from something. There's more to life than that. Just being alive, able to wake up every morning and get dressed on your own. There's so many people that can't. I recall when I was in rehab recovering from this accident and seeing people that without their legs and having to get help to get in and out of bed, those kinds of things. So we should be very grateful and thankful for what we're able to do on a daily basis. Again, try at times not to be in charge of things or being an expert. Identify what is meaningful to you and notice its place in your life. Meditate, pray, or sing. Contribute to causes in which you believe is also important. A volunteer service through various methods you can do that within your community. Here are several quotes as I close this part out. You can't pour from an empty cup. Keep that in mind. So often we drain our cups and we can't give anything to anybody, not even ourselves. We're so drained. Take time to do what makes your soul happy. That's so important. An empty lantern provides no light. Self-care is the fuel that allows your light to shine brightly. And as the last quote, almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, including you. It's important to unplug, so important. As I bring my remarks to a close, I'll leave you all with this. Teaching and learning should bring joy to you and your students. How powerful would our world be if we had students who weren't afraid to take risks, who were not afraid to think, who had a champion, an adult who will never give up on them, and one who insists that they be the best that they can be. This is what I challenge you all to do on a daily basis. Be that champion and take care of yourselves first. It's so important. Education is a profession where you can see the impact that you're having on the world around you. You will also, you also get to grow with your students. As they learn, you learn too. Just keep that in mind. Just because you're the teacher, you're learning just as much as the student's learning. There aren't many professions out there that allow for this. Keep that in mind. Is this a tough job? Yes, it is. It's very difficult. Very difficult. Is it paid where it needs to be? No, it isn't. But again, we're working to improve that. But there's so many things outside of that paycheck that you're going to love about this profession. When those students come back to you or they reach out to you or come visit you when they're in college or write you letters from college and they tell you how you made an impact on their lives or you changed their course of life, their trajectory based on how you treated them in your classrooms. Those are things that a check will not provide you. But then you need that check to pay your bills, but then there's these other pieces to that as well. So again, it's not impossible to do what we do on a daily basis. We can all do this as educators. We were born to make a difference. If you're sitting here at this point in your milestone in your career, as far as your college career, you were born to do this. And you will see that it will become more and more evident as you matriculate through the program. You have a support system of professors here, superintendents, principals, and teachers who will stand with you throughout. I congratulate you for reaching this milestone, and I look forward to seeing you all out in the field in Chester County. So I'm putting a plug in for it right now. And so before I close, I want, as I mentioned, when you have those days where you're feeling down on yourself, and I have multiple binders now because of over the years, but I pulled out, and I still had it close in my home office. This is my binder that I look back on from my student teaching. I'm a student taught at Rock Hill High School. And my last day in the class, the students put together photos and they all signed this from one of my classes. And we all took a class photo, everything that day. So I look back at this often and it helps me to keep going. So I'm gonna read two short, and they all wrote me letters. All wrote letters, and I have them in here. And I refer back to this off and on when things aren't feeling, I'm feeling down on myself or about the way something is going. And it says, "Dear Mr. Sutton, I just want to write you a letter to thank you for spending those 12 weeks in helping our class. I found myself doing a lot better during your time here. Your style of teaching helped me understand more than I used to. While you were here, accounting seemed more interesting and made me understand how much I need to know about this class and financially in the future. I want to wish you the best of luck with your job searching and with life after you have graduated. Thank you so much. Your time and guidance was greatly appreciated." And I'll read one more. And it says, "Dear Mr. Sutton, I really enjoyed you teaching us this semester. You are a great person and always offered your help to anyone and everyone who needed it. You seem to really care about all of us, and that is what makes the difference. I'm sorry for always getting on the internet when I wasn't supposed to. Accounting isn't something I wanted to do really than just being a part of the course to fill up schedule since I dropped course. But I really did learn a lot though, and that of things that I can really use in life. Good luck with teaching, and I know that you will be very successful. I have a lot of respect for you, and I wish you the very best." So again, I encourage you all as you move through the program, when you go out to school, before you graduate, even when you're in your own classroom, make this private assignment at the end of the school year, something where this actually students to write how they feel about you. Now, when you do that, to be prepared, you may get some things in those letters that you may want to put in the very back of your binder. But overall, students really know you care about them. Again, relationship building, let them know up front that you care about them, and you'd be amazed of how the things that students will write for you, and you put that together and you keep these letters and you utilize them. And they wrote several different things beyond that, but I refer back to this often when I'm having a bad day or things that's not going well I want to go. I pull out these binders and I read these things. This is what keeps me going. This is a feel for me and what I do. So again, I congratulate you all on reaching this milestone. If there's anything else I can do for you all as you move through, I see some from the Winthrop NetServe program that are in here now from my district that are here. So I encourage you all, when you're ready looking for jobs, come to Chester County Schools. Thank you. Congratulations.
So I knew the story about the bag ahead of time. So we made sure that you got a messenger bag today. And we hope you will wear it.
Yes, I sure will.
All right, let's give him another hand. So I have some people behind the scenes helping with the technology, and so whoever was sitting there that asked me, I was wrong. And I think one of the things you have to do when you're a teacher is when you're wrong, admit you're wrong. We thought we had figured out how to get people into the Zoom, and it didn't work. So we are recording. So we will get you, if your family wanted, we'll get it to everybody. If your family was not able to get in, some were. We're not sure why some were and some weren't. So we will make sure that it's on YouTube and you'll have a chance to share it with your family and friends. Yes, ma'am.
They've got a Facebook Live going on special education special education.
So I'm going to take a moment and allow and suggest that if your family was trying to watch, if you want to text them and explain to them that we will have a video for them or that they can get on Facebook Live, that just really confuses me, but I'm sure they know. So you will also learn when you're a teacher that sometimes you just have to change course really fast. And so thank you, Dr. Musty. All right, sorry about that little sidetrack.
And I know you can multitask, so you do that and you listen to me at the same time and we will keep on trucking. When students are admitted to Winthrop University and decide to major in education with the goal of becoming a teacher, we let them know that there are stages to their preparation. The early stages of our program are focused on general education requirements and courses that allow them to explore foundational concepts in education and what it means to be a teacher. As they progress through their coursework, students must meet a set of criteria in order to be admitted to the teacher education program. In addition to GPA and testing requirements, students must demonstrate the dispositions expected of professional educators. That is, those all-important professional attitudes and behaviors that teachers need in order to be successful in their jobs. As we admit future teachers into Winthrop's teacher education program, we want each of our graduates to be fully prepared and committed to making a difference in the lives of their students. And we want our future teachers to work tirelessly to recognize and utilize the unique strengths of individual students and to capitalize on those strengths as they scaffold their learning and success in school. To know how to adjust their instruction as needed for each learner, and to recognize the importance of actively engaging them in curriculum that is relevant to their lives. To advocate for each and every student and to inspire them to dream big and to stand tall. We know that teaching is not for everyone. Teaching is hard work, it is courageous work, and it is the most rewarding work. We set high expectations for our teacher candidates because we want each of them to be a catalyst of hope and inspiration for the students they teach. It all starts with admitting teacher candidates who demonstrate many of these desired characteristics from the outset, and that is each and every one of you. You are who we are celebrating today. We will now recognize the students who have met the criteria to enter Winthrop's teacher education program, both at undergraduate and graduate levels. These are the candidates we believe will bring great promise to the schools of tomorrow. Will our teacher education majors please stand? The teacher education faculty at Winthrop University determined that you have met all of the requirements for admission to the teacher education program. I am pleased to present our 2022 Winthrop University teacher candidates. Please join me in congratulating them. Please be seated.
Okay, so
Today, faculty from the College of Education will assist with the individual recognition of our newly identified teacher candidates. Abigail Armstrong is joining Dr. Hamill up here as we begin to recognize teacher candidates individually. And Ms. Moore is going to help direct folks as we come up. You're going to come up this way, walk across, you're going to get your all-important bag. So as part of the recognition, we want to provide you with the gift from the faculty of our bags. Dr. Sutton and Dr. Costner will greet each of you. Then please come to the table to receive your Richard W. Riley College of Education bag. We hope that you will enjoy your bag as you continue through the teacher education program and into your career, as has been demonstrated and talked about earlier. We will also recognize with a certificate a select group of students identified as significantly exceeding the expectations through their reflections on their growth and disposition as part of the admissions process. That good old dispositional reflection, you remember. Teacher candidates, please come forward to the side of the stage when directed. Hand your name card to the individual reading the names. Important. If you have a name that is easily mispronounced, please whisper it to them as you give them your card. We want to make sure that your name is correct. Then proceed across the stage. After receiving your bag, you'll go down the stairs and return to your seat. Please check now and make sure you have your name card. Don't forget that. And we ask that those in our audience refrain from taking pictures as students exit the stage. We'll get a lot of good opportunities for photos at the end. And then after the ceremony, you can get together with your faculty and your friends. So let's get started.
We are first. You first.
Yes.
Day Abel, MAT Secondary Social Studies. Joshua McCutcheon, Social Studies. Abigail Tate, Early Childhood Education. Hannah Rutland, Individualized Studies. Faith Jones, Elementary. Brittany Peeler, Early Childhood Education. Taylor Phelan, Elementary Education. Emma Scribano, Elementary Education with certificate. Galia Hagee, Early Childhood Education. Bridget Arnett, Early Childhood Education with certificate. Anna Caroline Alexander, Arts. Emma Swire Clark, Music. Shayla Ortiz, Choral Music. Zoe Judd, Modern Languages. Cece Taylor, Special Education. Ryan Ritchie, Elementary Education. Tara O'Donnell, special education. Nathan Pedersen, early childhood education. Lindy Rad, early childhood education. Savannah Bragg, early childhood education. Jordan Deloche, MAT, secondary biology.
I want to make this right, so before I start with you, Faith, where are you, dear? Please come back up and get your certificate. So if your family is not here, they can see you receive that. Sorry. Samantha Ritchie, MAT, secondary biology. Eve Morris, special education. Marilyn Estrada, elementary education. Brittany Sides, special education. Brianna Gale, special education. Ivy Moss, special education. Cameron Harsey, special education with certificate. Mackenzie Hafer, music. Mason Wallace, special education. Sydney Kiesler, early childhood education. Madison Bray, individualized studies. Tabitha Gathers. All right, Tabitha Gathers, MAT, pre-K3, early childhood. Joy Onyenso, special education. Jordan Glover, early childhood education. Isabella Fleischer, early childhood education. Janae Small, elementary education. Lauren Wellborn, elementary education. Rosie McCarter, elementary education. Naomi Bynum, early childhood education. Jaya Wright, early childhood education. Baton King, instrumental music. Jaleel Hammonds, middle level education. Jacoby Reed, middle level education with certificate. Nicole Snyder Picone, elementary education with certificate. Riley Poirier, art education. Callie Gravitt, art. Skylar Allen, art. Ariana Diamond, special education. Emma Oresic, elementary education with certificate. Rebecca Debo, special education with certificate. Special Education. Tara Ann Goodwin, Special Education. Mackenzie Thompson, Special Education. Sarah Massey, Special Education. Shannon Farley, MAT Secondary Math Certificate. With certificate. Katie Carpin, Physical Education. Ryan Carter, Physical Education. Maddie Kimbrell, Special Education. Xana Rentz, Middle Level Education. Alyssa Robinson, Elementary Education. Lindsey Brown, Elementary Education. Kaylee Bartlett, Early Childhood Education. Alyssa Stats, Early Childhood Education. Megan Russell, Early Childhood Education. Annika Barr, Early Childhood Education. Mackenzie Brooks, Early Childhood Education. Shanice Benjamin, Educational Studies with a certificate. Brianna Robinson, Elementary Education. Abby Mervine, Math. Danny Kilgore Wilson, History. Nick Morgan, Social Studies. Bailey Rogers, MAT Secondary Social Studies with a certificate. Sarah Kate Hollis, MAT Secondary Social Studies. Alexander Constantine, Individualized Studies. Brianna Inman, Early Childhood Education. Holly Arrowwood, Early Childhood Education. Excuse me, Holly Arwood. Sorry about that, Ms. Arwood. Chris Nichols, Music. Alex Brown, Math. Kayla Alexander, Dance with certificate. Alyssa Boyd, Dance. Stefan Mayraz Holom, Dance. Rachel Stevenson, Dance. Jaden Mosley, Dance with certificate. Jesse Clancy, Middle Level Education. Amber Eisler, Elementary Education. Allison Miller, English. Mary Abramson, English with a certificate. Carolyn Knight, Math.
While we celebrate you today, we would be remiss if we did not also acknowledge the family members, friends, former teachers, all who have helped you arrive at this place in your education. So those who are watching or will be watching, thank you for all you've done to support these students through this stage of their education. Thank you in advance for continuing to encourage them as they enter the next important stage in their professional development as a teacher. Students, make sure you take this opportunity to send a text, give a call, message on Facebook, thanking those who have supported you along the way, or give them a call, as I said later, to acknowledge your part in helping you get to this day. There are many individuals that help support you from the time that you arrive on campus and visit as a high school student, transfer, come on in, or a graduate student to the point of graduation and your teacher licensing. The staff of this College of Ed Student Academic Services Office is happy to be a part of that and an important part of that support service. So I really want to acknowledge Ms. Elizabeth Moore, Ms. Carol Adams, and Jay and the planning and coordination of this event. It really wouldn't happen without them. So this concludes the official portion of the 2022 induction ceremony. You can join us in the lobby where you can grab a treat and make sure you get pictures with your classmates and faculty. And there's different spots. There's a fun picture location. So we're excited to celebrate with you. Congratulations.
Too much though.
Yeah, I remember that part. Come on. And yet we be tired.